Fighting games are back, or so they say. But is that true, and where did they ever go, and why is that important to you? So hi, I'm Mug Thief, and yes, these are my grandma's glasses. We just happen to share a prescription. Thank you for commenting. And let's talk about fighting games here a little bit. So question one is, are they back? And we currently live in a world where you can get instant queues at almost any rank on Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6, and a couple of other games. Even Strive has quite a player base right now. Which in other words, if you're not into fighting games, means a lot of fighting games are very active at the moment. We also continuously see improvements on a lot of fighting games. Things like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which is getting rollback netcode, which basically means that the connection will be more stable and feel better when you play online. And we have two very big upcoming fighting games, a bunch of smaller ones as well. I'm really looking forward to Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. God, that's a mouthful. But we have Tekken 8 in January and Project L, which is Riot's League of Legends fighter, free to play, coming sometime in the future. We're not sure, but we hope it's soon. So there's a lot going on in the fighting game sphere. But most importantly, it's all very high quality. So to answer that first question quickly, yeah, fighting games kind of are back, but where did they go? Because for them to be back, they need to have went somewhere. And the truth is that during the 2010s, they just weren't as popular, even towards the tail end of the 2000s a little bit. It's just that they have been slowly decreasing in popularity, and for a lot of different factors. A lot of people mainly cite the horrible era of Capcom in the 2010s putting out some absolutely garbage games, including things like Street Fighter V, which was one of the worst launches in the company's history. But the truth is that a lot of other games came out in that time, things like the whole new Mortal Kombat series and things like Smash games, specifically Ultimate, that have really been very good. But fighting games just never felt popular again. And I think that while we can analyze a lot of different stuff as to why, at the end of the day, it's just kind of a vibe thing. The games that were coming out and the audience for them were just not aligned anymore. So yes, there was a dip in quality, and a lot of the games were maybe not as appealing as they normally are, and we definitely didn't have like a super breakout success, something like Street Fighter 2 back in the day, but it just kind of waned by itself. But that's changing now. It feels like the tides are changing. The buzz online, the conversations that people are having, they're all much different than they were before, and that has a lot to do with how good some of these games are. And that's because these new games address a lot of the issues that has kept fighting games from either coming back or reaching their full potential. You see, you would think that fighting games would be more popular than they ever have been. With things like netcode improving, and specifically rollback netcode, you can now sit in your house and play a fighting game with however many opponents you can find, all from the comfort of your chair or your couch. Given how naturally competitive gamers tend to be, you would think this is a surefire success, but it really hasn't turned out to be that way. Which is why I'm here to tell you that you should give fighting games a chance, specifically because they're back. So the crux of my argument and everything that I'm going to talk about now is focused on not missing out. And I hate the idea of being a FOMO person, but I'm not doing this for some manipulative tactic. I just want to make sure you're aware of what's going on so that if it interests you, you don't miss out on it. It's not the same, but I remember when a lot of Genshin updates used to come out, and I had friends and people around me that would be like, oh, the new Genshin update is so cool, look at this character, look at this trailer, look at these things, and the story, it's so good, you have to experience the story in Genshin Impact. And I was like, well, I'm just so behind. I don't want to get into it now and feel like I'm just that far behind of where everybody else is in terms of everything, and especially in like collecting free rewards. As much as I think I would like a game like Genshin Impact, except the part where it apparently sucks out your soul, I just felt like I missed that train. And this is a situation where there is a train and is leaving the station and you're right on time for boarding. Because fighting games benefit from a lot of different things, but especially from a big player base and big communities forming around them. So getting into them now, when there's a lot of new people getting into them, will benefit you as a new player, because you'll have other newbies that are going to be just as bad as you get onto your journey of improving and having fun with fighting games. And the more people jump into them, the more fun everything is going to be. And some of the things that have kept fighting games back are the full cost price of admission into products that seem very intimidating from afar, when you have alternatives like playing battle royale games that are free to play with your friends. But I think there's plenty of competitive-minded people that will love what fighting games have to offer if you've never really dived into them and experienced them. Fundamentally, these are competitive games. They're fighting games. You fight another opponent and whoever is better wins. But it's all on you, and the journey of improvement isn't some toxic frustration. The idea behind it is very healthy. It's kind of like what you experience in actual martial arts training, or if you're somebody who goes to the gym, it's about the process. Even on the bad days, you're improving. And if you're somebody who likes to feel that progress and see themselves get better and be proud of your performance, fighting games are 100% for you. So let's talk about that intimidating factor of them. That's been mostly mitigated by multiple different things. Firstly, fighting games get more and more accessible all the time. That's their main focus. Street Fighter 6 implemented modern controls. Tekken 7 even has some modern control options. They're always looking for ways to simplify things for newer players to get into it by lowering the skill floor but retaining the skill ceiling. And yes, that means that when you look at gameplay footage online, it's basically a completely different game than what you are going to see in your online matches, but you can get into it without stressing too much and start progressing to there. Matchmaking services, including ranked, also help out with this a ton, because theoretically you're always going to be matched with people that are more or less in your skill level, so they're going to be good training partners. Even if it does say ranked and you're going to lose a lot of matches, what you should think is, I'm going into a mode that is matching me into training opponents that are appropriate for my skill level. So that's a really helpful tool for learning while having fun, while playing, while being engaged. But if you're more of the academic type of person, we now have tons of communities. We have guides, we have Discord servers, we have content creators that specialize in explaining anything and everything to new players, or to an intermediate level, or to a very high level. And we now have access to all of these different things: the accessibility, the ranking modes, the training modes, the tutorials, the Discord servers, and the content that you can learn from, at the same time that we have really good new fighting games coming out that are possibly, especially if you listen to this video, going to be flooded with new players, with new blood that you can train against and have fun with and experience that journey. I especially think Tekken 8 coming out next year is a really big deal. Tekken has always been very, very popular, and we haven't had a new one in 8 years, so there's going to be a lot of newer players jumping on and trying to experiment. And if the game is accessible enough, and I do think it is very, very flashy, so it's going to have a lot of attention on it, we're going to have a very healthy player base of new players to train and learn the games while having fun. So I'm also going to give you a very short mini guide on how to get into fighting games. The first step: choose a fighting game that you like. Look up gameplay and be like, oh, that looks fun. 2, after you buy it, play some offline. Get a feel for the different characters and just a little bit of how the game plays. 3, choose your main. Who is going to be your main character? Well, whoever you think is the coolest. Don't look up tier lists, don't look up anything like that. It doesn't matter. These are games that are meant to be learned. You are meant to practice them and improve at them while having fun. And you can't do that if you're not motivated. If you choose a character that you vibe with, you're going to be excited. You're going to be motivated to pull off cool combos like the ones you've seen online. So sure, this other character might be busted and super OP according to the community, but if you don't vibe with them, you're never going to feel motivated. You're just going to always feel like you're playing this character because you want to be good. It serves no purpose. We're here to have fun. You're not going to a tournament. There's no money on the line. And the 4th step is just jump into ranked. Yeah, you might lose a lot. You might demote, but that is how you practice. You go into ranked, you encounter real opponents that make you question things like, how do I get out of this situation? Or how can I win this matchup? And then you might look for resources or just keep playing until you figure it out on your own. Don't be afraid. You lost in ranked. What's the big deal? Once you improve, that's just a general improvement, so it's going to be really easy to climb. Everything that to a new player might seem very technical and very intimidating are just things that you learn over time with all of the resources available to you, depending on how much time you want to put into something. So I think it's a great time to paraphrase John Wick and say, yeah, I'm thinking they're back. But also, you should care and you should play them. This could be the new golden age of fighting games, and it's such an underrated genre that brings so much happiness, so much satisfaction, and so much engagement. It's the types of games that you just can't stop thinking about, that you get home from work and you're like, man, I want to lab for a couple of hours and then go play some ranked. And it's just a very fulfilling gaming experience for me as someone who is very competitive minded. So I hope this video reaches the right people. I hope it doesn't just all go to a bunch of fighting game fans, but if it does reach you and you've gotten here and you're a fighting game fan, share this with someone else. Let me be that annoying friend that pressures people into playing them. Send them this video. I hope this video means something to someone, but additionally, I am not a fighting game channel. I will never be a fighting game channel. I'm going to be whatever I kind of feel like doing. Whatever I think is going to be a fun and entertaining video or something that I'm just passionate about is what's going to be on my channel. But looking forward to a lot of the fighting game things that are happening, I'm going to be experimenting with a couple of videos. I have always been a Smash player and a Guilty Gear player. I do not have very much experience with Street Fighter or with Tekken. I also don't have any with Mortal Kombat, but I'm also broke, so I can't afford Mortal Kombat 1 right now. But I do own Tekken and Street Fighter, so I'm going to properly get into them. I'm going to play them in ranked for the first time, just to kind of show how much you can learn organically and how it's not intimidating, and kind of show you my learning process. And I would also like to put out a video that breaks down the absolute most basic fundamentals for people who have never touched a fighting game before, in order to help those people come into the fighting game community. And if you're excited for either of those things, remember to subscribe, or if you're just excited for long video essays and reviews and videos like this of whatever comes to my mind that I think is worth talking about. Help push me over 10,000 subscribers. That would be an amazing Christmas present, please and thank you. I've been Mug Thief, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.